happening, guys? Welcome back to Jackpot DFS, man. You guys caught me yesterday with DFS Bachelor and the NFL Week First Look. Um, if you guys aren't liking, subscribing DFS Bachelor, man, I don't know what you're doing with your life. He's a funny guy. He's been doing it for a long time now. Also doing some different stuff now with SBR. Great guy. Get some comedy out of it as well. Great DFS advice as well. One of my friends in the DFS business, and we correlate together as well weekly on DFS plays and different things. But welcome, guys, new subscribers, guys who have been following me for a little while now. Welcome back, man. Love the show and support. If you guys haven't liked and subscribed to the video, man, please do so. It helps grow the channel, helps get me out there, helps get the content to other people who could use some DFS advice, etc. You can also find me at Twitter, Jackpot25, for DFS content as well. A lot of times with these single game slates, I'll put some. With this week, especially with the Thursday night game, there's going to be a lot of things in play that we don't know of just yet. There's some things where Sterling Shepard could come back off IR. Goddard could come back off IR. We've got some injuries that could change the game a little bit. I think the only confirmed thing right now is Miles Sanders is not going to play. But things hanging in the balance for Slayton, Deshaun Jackson, whether he's going to play, etc. So best to keep your eyes on that Twitter and see if certain guys don't play. I like to offer like a pivotal player that you could pivot to that could you could replace that person with in a lineup or so, especially if you're playing like a single entry or whatnot. But moving on to the slate, we got the Philadelphia Eagles against the Giants. Both these quarterbacks in play. If I had to pick one or the other to play, I don't advise probably playing both these quarterbacks in a lineup tomorrow. I just don't think the upside is there. I think you could get there with just playing one. Just kind of how you feel, how the game's going to go. I like Wentz's upside. He's just done more with less this season so far. However, I do like the upside with Daniel Jones with rushing the ball. Not opposed to seeing him run for a touchdown with his legs. However, he does turn the ball quite a bit more than Carson Wentz does. However, but both of these guys in play. Last time Carson Wentz played the Giants, he put up a 17 and a 24 the game before that. Daniel Jones put up a 20 last game he was out. So virtually around the same. However, Carson Wentz this season alone has been better. 22, 19, and 30 the last three games he's played. And one of those was even with against a stingy Ravens defense. So just keep that in mind. Even Daniel Jones facing the Cowboys had put himself in a position where he should have succeeded, but somehow just couldn't get it done. So to me, the obvious play would be Wentz, but I do think they're both in play. And if you want to be different, just a word of advice, I think you like on FanDuel, you can do like 150 lineups for like $7.50 in the 5-cent tournament. If you're kind of new to DFS or you're trying to get better, just kind of a word of advice. And guys, for the love of God, Draft Dashboard is $1 for 30 days. Will help you, give you all these tools, help you see what they've done in the past, a few games against each other, etc. It will give you stats about what they've done for the last few games, what their prices are. It'll help you use the optimizer to use to build lines. If you can simply click who you like, and it will generate lines for you to play, and you can kind of go from there. Different things that you can use for Draft Dashboard that will just help you a ton and save you a lot of time and research. Just things to think about, guys. Not pushing, just saying. It's only $1 for 30 days. If you don't like it, then don't just cancel it and don't subscribe. So moving on to running backs. Miles Sanders is obviously out tomorrow, so Boston Scott is obviously lock and load play tomorrow. He's done nothing but destroy the Giants when he's played, especially when he's had a big role. He's had a 36 and a 25 against them the last two times he was out against them at an $8,400 price on DraftKings. just a lock and load play. I don't think you get away from that, especially now that Miles Sanders is out. I think it's just an easy play. And obviously he's just done big things since when he's played the Giants. Um, I do think Devontae Freeman would be in play tomorrow. I don't like quite the upside that he has, that Boston Scott has. Um, Philadelphia is not, they're not the best defense in the world, but they will put up a fight. I think these are the two guys in play. I don't even think I'm going to worry about playing any of these other guys. I mean, you might get a few snaps to Clement. That's not out of the world woodwork of happening. We've seen this play out before where Corey Clement could come in and steal a touchdown or something like that. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say he's in play. But any of these other guys, I'm not even going to waste my time in playing any of these guys. Maybe some small love for Deion Lewis, but I'm not in love with that. And I think I'm just going to fade Deion Lewis and probably Clement and probably stick to these two top guys for the most part. I think you get more value this week with receiver. Moving on, Slayton, I think he personally will play, but we're still waiting on that news. Slayton obviously in play. We're waiting on news for Sterling Shepard. Also waiting on news for Deshaun Jackson. So those are things we're just going to have to wait and see tomorrow. I think the Giants have till 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon to put him on the active roster tomorrow before the game. So we'll see if that happens and if he'll play. If he plays, he's obviously in play. I don't know what the price of him will be just yet. We'll just have to wait and see how that plays into factor. I do still think the Slayton's in play. I probably have a little less love for Golden Tate if Sterling does play, but we'll kind of see what happens with the injury news on that. Onside Jeffrey will not play. It doesn't look like, so we're just kind of waiting on that Deshaun Jackson news to see if he'll play, and then we'll kind of go from there. Obviously, Travis Fulham has been a nice surprise for the Eagles. Has done nothing but produce the past couple weeks. I think he's obviously in play. Greg Ward, some small consideration for. He's been out there. He's just not producing. But it's not saying he can't produce. It's only been 6 weeks into the season. He's only $4,800 price. Obviously in play. Has been targeted some. Obviously he's on the field for 63% of the snaps, so in play. And then you get down looking at these other guys. I think if Deshaun Jackson doesn't play, you kind of look down at Whiteside or a Hightower. Whiteside's a little bit more pricey than Hightower is, but Hightower is playing more snaps. So obviously that's an easy choice. You just jump down to Hightower and play them at that cheaper price. If Sterling Shepard doesn't play and Slayton for some reason is out, then you have to look down at a guy like Austin Mack at $400. Just a nice salary saving price. Just something to think about. Just something to keep an eye on the injury news for tomorrow. Moving on to tight ends. Obviously, first choice is obviously Evan Ingram. Just this caliber of excuse me, just the caliber of tight end that he is compared to the other guys on the slate. There's just not much comparison. He's on the field a lot more than these other guys. Obviously, with Ertz out and waiting on the news of Goddard, right now it doesn't look like he'll play, but you never know. A day can change and silly things happen. So we'll keep an eye on the injury news. But if he doesn't play, obviously you're going to have Richard Rodgers in the starting lineup. And then you'll have, it looks like Jason Kroom. He's only $200. So if Goddard doesn't come back, obviously Ertz is not going to play. Then you have a $200 tight end that you could snack in there at a salary saving price. I wouldn't mess with Tulio too much. I don't think you'll see the field. He's the third tight end on the depth chart for the Giants. Really, it's kind of these three right now, and Kroom obviously if Goddard doesn't play, and obviously Goddard's in play. Obviously, if he does come back, he's probably my number one choice at tight end if he does come back. But if he doesn't, then obviously you go with Evan Ingram. Some small love for Caden Smith. He is on the field for 41% of the snaps. He is getting targeted. 1 and 3 targets. Obviously, Richard Rodgers, better known for that crazy touchdown catch he made when he was with the Packers. And then I think Kroom did catch a touchdown pass for the Eagles. So he's obviously in play if he does play, and at a $200 price, nice save in salary there. Moving on to kickers. Not too much in love with Jake Elliott. I think you're going to be better off if you're going to play a kicker, play Graham Gano. He's just been pretty awesome this year. He's if there's one good thing for the Giants is they got a hell of a kicker in Graham Gano. The guy has just been on fire, kicking field goals. He's pretty automatic for the most part. This guy can kick from 50 plus and kicks it pretty damn good. 9, 20, and 8. If this guy, I mean, I could see the Giants struggling to score tomorrow touchdowns. And if they do, then you get a guy like Graham Gano out there kicking 50-yard field goals. That price or that those scores for on DK or FanDuel can go up pretty fast for a kicker like Graham Gano. Kick a couple 50-yard field goals and a 30-yard field goal or 40-yard field goal or something like that, 3 or 4 field goals. And this guy's virtually caught a touchdown and a half points-wise. That's what you want if you're going to play a kicker, especially at that price of $3,600. I think you could definitely go there tomorrow. If I'm going to play one of the kickers, it's definitely going to be Graham Gano. Jake Elliott hasn't really produced that much, and I just think Graham Gano is the way to go at kicker tomorrow. Defenses wise, I personally, if I had to choose one, I'd choose the Eagles. Like I said earlier, Daniel Jones just turns the ball over a lot more than Carson Wentz does. Not saying it can't happen, but if they sack Daniel Jones, he fumbles, they run it back for a touchdown, etc. Things like that happen all the time. But it's just one of those things. I wouldn't advise playing your defense ever in your captain spot. That's just setting yourself up for failure. I mean, you could virtually, you're playing a single line and you put your defense in a captain spot. The Giants come down the field and score on the first drive of the game. You're asked out already, and then you're fighting to come back all the rest of the night. It's just not a smart way to play. If you're playing 150 lines, 20 lines, whatever you want to throw a snowball in there, throw one like that, then nothing wrong with that. But I wouldn't advise doing that on a single line or anything like that. It's just setting yourself up for failure when you're doing it that way with a single line. But that's it, guys. That's pretty much it for the Thursday night slate. That's what I like so far. Keep an eye out on my Twitter. If you're not following me on Twitter, Jackpot25 with Jackpot GFS. And guys, share the news out there. Share the video. I appreciate that so much if you can. Like and subscribe if you hadn't done so. Guys, I hope you win big money tomorrow, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. As always, if you guys have any questions or you're on the fence about players, never shy away. You can always ask questions in the comment section. You can always ask questions on Twitter. And DM is always open as well if you guys would need some advice or you guys are just kind of on the fence and you need some secondary opinion. No big deal at all, man. Hey, that's what I'm here for. I'll be glad to answer any questions. But guys, have a great night. Let's win some money tomorrow and get this week rolling right. See you guys.